Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today on Latakian's Nor Kitchen we're gonna make classic rice pudding. Yeah, that's right, this is one of those homey comforting desserts that nobody wants but that everybody loves. And what I mean by this is you never really hear about someone craving rice pudding. I mean, nobody ever looked at a dessert menu at a restaurant and said, oh man, there's no rice pudding on here. But despite that, when you make this and serve it to people, they absolutely love it. And by the way, not only am I gonna show you how to make this crowd-pleasing dessert, I'm gonna show you how to make it a lot easier with our proprietary one pot method. So with that, let's go ahead and get started with our one pot, into which we're gonna add some short grain rice, about 1 cup. And I know you may have heard long grain and medium grain rice work better for this, but in my opinion they don't, at least for what we're calling classic rice pudding. So we're going with the short grain, to which we're gonna add some nice fresh hot water, about 3 cups, and then once that's set, we'll head over to the stove, where we're gonna bring this up to a boil over medium-high heat, at which point we can reduce the heat to low, cover it and set our timer to 20 minutes, and if everything goes according to plan, once that timer rings, we should be looking at some very nice tender soft rice. Okay, we really do want this to be fully cooked before we proceed to the next steps. And then what we're gonna want to do at this point is toss in our milk. To 1 cup of rice, you need to add 2 liters of milk. Give it a good stir and bring the milk to a boil. And then what we'll do next is, in a mortar, I'm gonna add a few pieces of mastic gums, which will add a chewy creamy texture to our rice pudding, which by the way is optional, so you can skip it, or instead you can add some vanilla extract. So it's totally up to you. So what I like to do is putting that with a little bit of sugar in a mortar, so the sugar will make it easier for us to ground it. You want to let the vessel do most of the work by letting its own weight go down or come down on the mastic gums until it becomes like a powder, and that's it. Next up is, I'm gonna add 4 tablespoons of cornstarch, or any starch of your prefer, to a bowl, to which I'm gonna add 1/4 cup of water. You can use milk instead if you want here. Now grab a whisk and give it a mix until you make sure that the starch is dissolved very well in the water. This mixture will help us thicken in the milk in our rice pudding once it's cooled. Now go ahead to the stove and give that milk a good stir, and then once that is hot, we're gonna add 1 cup of sugar as well as the cornstarch mixture that we've prepared together. What we're gonna do next is stir this until the bottom of the pan is completely clean and deglazed. So, as I mentioned earlier, we're just gonna use 1 pot here, which is not the normal method. Okay, virtually every other recipe calls for transferring the cooked rice into another pot before you make the pudding. And the reason for this is they are worried we're gonna scorch the bottom of the pan because of the layer of starch that sticks over there. But as you know, we have tricks. So by stirring this milk, we're gonna deglaze that thin layer of cooked on starch from the bottom. As you'll see, all that's gonna dissolve and the bottom of the pan will be clean. And once that's been accomplished, there's almost no chance this is gonna be burned. So keep stirring this for 5 minutes or so, or until it's done. The longer we cook this mixture, the thicker and thicker it's gonna be. Okay, because those grains of rice are gonna continue to cook and swell, and eventually they will collapse completely, and you have something super thick and sturdy. But generally I don't like to let it go that far, okay? While I do like them very, very soft, I do want some identifiable grains of rice in this, sort of cloaked in a sweet creamy sauce. And then what we'll do once we decide it's cooked is turn off the heat and stir in the rest of the ingredients. We'll toss in the grounded mastic gums, and that's it. So I cooked mine until it looked like this, but like just said, you might want for more time, totally up to you. I mean, you're after all the Richard Hertz of your old-fashioned desserts. And then once we have that all stirred together, technically it's ready to serve. If you want it, serve it hot, which I do not recommend. I mean, it's not like it's gonna taste bad, and some people enjoy it warm, but I think it's superior dessert once it's chilled and gelatinized. So what I like to do while it's still warm is transfer that in whatever cups I'm gonna serve it, at which point we will let these cool down to room temp, and once that's happened, we will pop them in a fridge until very thoroughly chilled. And yes, by far this is the hardest part for this recipe, but somehow I managed to do it. And then once those are chilled, we can pull them out and serve them in so many different wonderful ways. The classic one should be dust the top with cinnamon and enjoy it as it is, which is probably my favorite, but because my family don't love cinnamon, so I'm gonna put some fresh ground pistachio on top, to which I'm gonna add one dried rose petal in the middle. And by the way, this is also wonderful topped with fresh fruit. But anyway, our classic rice pudding is done and waiting for someone with a spoon to enjoy it. And for now, that someone is me. So let me go ahead and dig in. And that, my friend, is just the epitome of a comforting, homey, old-fashioned dessert. Just sweet enough, just starchy enough, and it's just very easy for all your senses to understand. As I've said earlier, it's all being sort of held together by this beautiful sticky, creamy sauce, so I was 100% happy with how that came out. And that's it, what we call rice pudding is done, which I really do hope you give this a try soon. Thanks for watching. It's a restaurant quality recipe where you can easily make at home. And if you liked my video, please make sure to subscribe, like, follow and share so you can help me get more people to reach Latakian's Nor Kitchen. See you later!